There's a moment in Beyonce's song Formation that transcends music and becomes mantra. Always stay gracious, best revenge is your paper. In just 10 words, she distills an entire philosophy of success, grace under pressure, and quiet resilience. But what does it really mean to stay gracious while relentlessly building your empire? And how does that mindset psychologically fuel one of the most disciplined work ethics of our generation? Today on Melodic Minds, we're diving into the psychological blueprint behind Beyonce's iconic work ethic, how ambition, trauma, identity, discipline, and legacy all fuse together into a mindset that doesn't just chase greatness, it becomes it. This is not just about fame or talent, it's about intention. And if you're wondering what it really means to be unbothered and unstoppable, Beyonce might just be the case study you need. To understand Beyonce's work ethic, we have to trace it back to its psychological roots, her upbringing. Raised in Houston, Texas by a hardworking family, her father Matthew Knowles, a corporate executive turned manager, and her mother Tina Knowles, a fashion designer and entrepreneur, Beyonce was taught early that excellence was not optional, it was expected. Psychologically, this embeds what's called a performance orientation, where identity becomes tightly linked to achievement. From a young age, Beyoncé internalized the value of discipline, structure, and high performance, often rehearsing for hours while other children played. What might appear excessive to some was psychologically setting the foundation for a deep association between self-worth and work, between identity and output. This early conditioning, while productive, also creates a kind of perfectionism that becomes both a fuel and a burden. Beyoncé wasn't just taught to succeed, she was trained for it. One of the most fascinating psychological elements of Beyoncé's career is how she blends vulnerability with precision. In albums like Lemonade, Ford, and Renaissance, she doesn't shy away from emotions, she masters them. She doesn't explode emotionally, she curates emotional release. From a psychological standpoint, this points to a high degree of emotional intelligence, particularly self-regulation. Instead of allowing feelings to derail her, Beyoncé uses them as creative fuel, transforming betrayal into art, grief into choreography, and anger into anthems. This is the essence of transmutation, the psychological ability to redirect emotional energy toward productive, creative, and often cathartic expression. Beyoncé doesn't deny her feelings, she alchemizes them, and in doing so, she demonstrates the mental discipline of someone who refuses to let chaos contaminate her focus. Beyoncé's obsessive attention to detail isn't just creative preference, it's a psychological need for control in a world that often seeks to control Black women. Her perfectionism, as seen in documentaries like Homecoming, is rooted in a desire to shape every aspect of her narrative. This points to what psychologists call internal locus of control, the belief that you can influence outcomes through your own actions. Unlike those who feel helpless or blame external factors, Beyoncé's ethos is, if something's going to be excellent, I'm going to make it excellent. This is also deeply tied to racial and gender experiences. As a Black woman, her margin for error in the public eye is smaller, so she overcompensates by mastering everything, from lighting cues to vocal harmonies. This isn't vanity, it's survival. Her control is her weapon, her excellence is her shield. While hustle culture often glorifies burnout, Beyoncé embodies something different, ritual. Her work isn't just labor, it's sacred. From her 16-hour rehearsal schedules to her vocal warm-ups to her performance diets, she's turned preparation into a spiritual practice. Psychologically, this points to a concept known as flow state, the zone where effort feels seamless and time disappears. For Beyoncé, work is not punishment, it's presence. It's where she finds peace, purpose, and power. But beneath that ritual lies something deeper, intrinsic motivation. Unlike those driven solely by external rewards, Beyoncé is clearly fueled by internal standards, a desire to reach a self-defined level of greatness regardless of applause, and that's why she never stagnates. The competition is not the industry, it's who she was yesterday. Let's circle back to that iconic line. Always stay gracious, best revenge is your paper. Psychologically, it's a masterclass in assertive emotional detachment. Rather than reacting with pettiness or public conflict, Beyonce reframes revenge as success. This is a form of cognitive reframing, the ability to mentally pivot from vengeance to validation. The focus is no longer on the person who wronged you, but on the legacy you're building in spite of them. And the phrase stay gracious is key. Grace is not weakness, it's restraint. It's the power to protect your energy, remain emotionally grounded, and continue moving in purpose even when chaos calls your name. This mindset reflects psychological maturity and ego strength, two traits common in individuals who operate from a place of wholeness, not reaction. In a world obsessed with instant fame and viral moments, Beyonce's work ethic reminds us of the long game. It's not just about achieving success, it's about sustaining it. That sustainability is rooted in psychological boundaries, knowing when to say no, when to go silent, and when to reinvent. She doesn't just perform, she retreats, studies, and emerges renewed. And that's why her work hits so hard, because it's not just talent, it's intention, it's therapy, discipline, purpose, and strategy, all wrapped into a brand that doesn't chase relevance, it commands it. So the next time you hear best revenge is your paper, know that it's more than a lyric. It's a psychological philosophy, one built on grace, grit, and the unshakable belief that legacy is louder than revenge.